Jean Pierre, Karine Chapier, Jean Pierre, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that
And,
just answered my question. It's like, where's the vetting? Where's the Joe McCarthy of today? You know,
well,
how
they
come these
eliminated
people
it
aren't being
under.
dragged before a Senate committee and said, you're a communist and we're putting you to death? I mean, these people are infiltrators and communists.
It was all planned to put babbling idiot Biden in there because he didn't know what he was signing. They were doing all the work. He was signing, just putting his name on here, sign here. Oh, okay, okay. Can I have ice cream?
Well,
Um,
speaking of people that,
but wait a minute, knowing he was going to die or whatever, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
move her right up, and now the play is in play. You understand it?
yeah. Well, that's how I say they're going to create so much chaos between now and the election that they can cheat and get her in, and then we're in down the hills path.
I'm going to
But I want
send
to
you
welcome.
this document again.
All right, I want to welcome Lady Liberty on board here because
Yes.
Good
And
she's
with
morning.
that, I'm going to say hello to her, and I'm going to bid you adieu. And
Oh,
well, wait. Let me see if I can find this other thing about Kumala. Go ahead. Let me say good morning. I'm in another.
good
There I am.
morning.
Hi, Lady Liberty.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, how are you?
it's like, you got to stop asking that question. I mean, come on, stop it. I mean, obviously, we're very upset. I mean, this is
I'm going to go to mute and I'm going to listen.
Well, you can't mute and then talk at the same time. That doesn't help. I'm going to mute while I'm talking and then. Are we supposed to lip read? Is that? I'm just
all
joking.
right, darling.
Uh,
How's your week's been? How's your week been? What's going on out there?
Always interesting. I mean, what isn't going on? I mean, there's always.
What's going on? You've been down to the border this week?
I was not yet. I'm going to be going.
Yeah.
Um, but I went, last week. It was interesting that there was a crossing right after we left the area that we were staying at. But the federal, it's like the Mexican army and the National Guard came at two different times looking for something in this area. There's a rape tree that's on the other side of the wall in Jacumba where they, put underwear and garments like that after they've raped whoever along the way or in that area as like a trophy type of thing. And I thought I saw a bottle of chloroform and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, it's allergy medicine. But oh my gosh, I was tripping. I'm like, this is no way. But I mean, I'll find condoms all the time, which is really disturbing. Just kind of thrown about. And it's like, it's sad to know that that goes on. But on the Mexico side, they kept coming and looking and then asking what, I was looking for. And I'm thinking, well, what are you looking for? And one time it was like kind of during the day and they just show up. It's like, you don't even really hear them walking around or anything, but all of a sudden they're in my face and I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, que buscando? Like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, documents and I don't know, people like been waiting because this is a really heavy, high trafficked area. And then it was when it was dark, the guys, the National Guard came and they had their guns and everything. And, they're shining their lights on you and whatnot. And as soon as we left in the morning, they came and crossed there. So we actually kept them from crossing pretty much the entire night, which was pretty interesting.
So
To
you
think that
stopped them from crossing, but the guard, the National Guard, and our border agents didn't.
correct. I mean, and it's funny because they were there, looking through stuff, and for some reason they didn't, want to cross at that point, which they do it in front of people all the time. So I don't know, but it was interesting that it didn't happen until, after we had departed the area, and
Maybe the words got out on you.
I don't know, but they were taking pictures. I'm like, hello, what do you? I don't know what you're gonna do with those. I mean, they already know I come here, so.
You know what they're going to do with them. They're going to use them at your trial.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know, right? Because I
we found
am.
this aversive trying to stop us from destroying the country.
She's an insurrectionist.
Yeah.
But someone there was word, and I'm waiting for this story to come out. But last night there was another reporter talking about how she got information from somebody that was saying that there were 300,000 Venezuelans that flew into Tijuana and that were crossing the border. And I was like, I need some more evidence with that. But so I'm waiting for that kind of story to come out and see what's going on. Cause I thought 300, I mean, that's a lot in one day. I mean, but I mean, that would be noticeable. Like I just go on the street. I'm not quite sure, what all that means, but it'll be interesting to find that out and see kind of, what's going on with that. But they're definitely coming in through, many means. And there's like so many locations. My friend Jeff, who's another reporter, he's the one that found the passport with that was from a terrorist. But there's a lot of other locations along the border that they've been crossing, because they normally would have their main routes and their main locations that they go to be picked up by Border Patrol. But it's been that they have, there's many spots, many that, you're not always privy to. And in that, they can disappear a lot easier than when they go through the same, routes that the most people had gone through. So it makes it a little bit harder, but they're also, coming in through the port of entry. So that's the thing. I went on Saturday. I had my border machine tour to take people to the border locally in San Diego, not so far out into Jacambo, which is like 50 miles. And there's spots along the way, but I wanted to show people just right in San Diego what was happening. So I brought them and met at the Irish Transit Center, which is where they were doing the street drop-offs, just to show people that. And then I was cleaning up trash. Actually, I got $3 tip from this guy. He was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And I said, "I'm picking up trash." He's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I know." Because he's like, just because because to be a good person or something like that. I was like, well, who's going to do it? It's dirty. And someone needs to do it. And he offers me $3 and I was like, no, that's okay. And he's like, well, do you need a ride? And I'm thinking, I'm picking up trash. What? And he's like, kind of being a little weird, but he was like, you're too pretty or something like that to like be picking up trash. I don't understand. But I was like, okay, I'm just, I'm trying to do a service, like community service here. And then he was like, he kept trying to give me the $3, but I said, do you want to donate to my cause? And he was like, sure. So he gave me the $3. And then he goes, when can I see you again? And I was like, oh yeah, right.
Oh, Lord.
And he goes like, where do you live? I'm like, way north from here. And he's like, well, when can I see you again? And I'm like, yeah, probably not. And he's like, can I have a hug? And I was like, no, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. Just give me a knuckles. Like, but it was funny. And so anyway, after we were there, we went to the port of entry, which is just down the way, to see. And because I had seen a bus pass where we were, and I was like, oh, dang, that's either going to the port or that was coming from the Border Patrol station, which is also kind of in that area. And so as soon as we got to the port of entry, there was the bus sitting there waiting because they were getting ready to do a pickup of the CBP One app people that go through the port. They surrender that way. They're still illegal. I mean, there should be no processing like that, but the Jewish Family Services is the ones that comes and picks them up. So I went over to the bus driver and I was like, when are you going to pick up these individuals? And he's like, I'm not. And I was like, you're not going to pick up the people over here from the CBP One app? He's like, no. And I was like, you work for Damaris? And he's like, no. And I'm like, weird. The bus says Damaris. It's so strange. Did you like steal it? I mean, why are you lying? You know what I mean? And then I turn around, there's Jewish Family Services. And they're like, can we help you? And I was like, I'm just wondering when you're going to pick the people up. Like, the bus is sitting here. What time are you guys going to do your thing? And they're like, what? And I was like, oh, you work for Jewish Family Services. I was like, because then after you pick them up here, you're going to go to the 4902 Pacific Highway location, right? And they just walk away. But it's like, why are you trying to be so secret? I already know what you're doing. I'm just asking you, see if you're going to be transparent about it, and you're not. So they walk over and then they're trying to take pictures, but I got to show the people them being picked up firsthand. And then we went to the border at San Ysidro, which is right down the way from there. And there was a family of four, a woman, they were from the Yucatan in Mexico, and you don't usually find a lot from Mexico. But the police actually in Tijuana told them where to go. So that was interesting.
Yeah,
I was like,
who says
so they
you can't
just
find
directed you
romance in
here.
activism, though, right? But which is that about? I mean, people. I mean, even when I'm out there on the street, New Orleans, not the cleanest city in the world, and but the trash. I mean, people will walk over and kick. They'll walk over
Yeah.
trash. There'll be a trash can with like 6 feet of them.
Right.
And I'm constantly going over and walking around and picking up trash from people who are walking right up. Just bend over, pick it up, throwing a garbage can for crying out loud. It's
I mean, it's just weird because it's like, and it was funny because as soon as I started picking up the trash, I'm thinking, then you still see the trash left behind because it'll be tiny, smaller pieces. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just cleaned that up. But it's like still dirty because there's like tiny little remnants of some piece of plastic or whatever. I was like,
just
that
part of
should
the
be,
degradation of the society, the downfall.
yeah.
It is. It's just, it shows up everywhere we go. I mean, just look, I mean, here, I'm sure you've got a homeless problem out there. Every city
Yeah.
does. And you see the trash that they compile around them. And I mean, I drive by, I go by them all the time when I'm out there in the streets. And how could you, I don't have people live like that. It's just insanity.
I don't know. Well, sometimes it's like they're, um, like, I don't know, they go pick it up part of the time to like find recycling and stuff. But, sometimes I don't know if they even think about it like that. But wherever the illegals cross, for sure, they leave trails of it too. And that's what's kind of frustrating is that it's like, I want to go and do a cleanup down where they're, actually crossing in Jacumba and stuff like that. Because you can also find stuff, but it's like, I mean, just so many water bottles and clothing and things that, are just, I mean, I don't understand that. Because then I also see, you'd see them, and they were told this at the Iris Transit to take off their wristbands and their bag tags. And so they would, and they just drop it on the floor. And I'd even seen them like just walking around. They had something in their hand and there's literally a trash can right there and they'll just toss it on the ground. And it's like, what the heck? I mean, I don't even like, I smoke cigarettes and I don't discard my cigarette butts like that. And people do it all the time. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like,
Well, from the bottom to the top, I'm just perusing some of the headlines here. I mean, if every part of society, that's what Ricky and I were talking about too. It's like, how do these people that are trashing this company, trashing in the
other sense, yeah,
sense, right? Easy for me to say. Going down to just throwing something on the street, but all the way up, how the entire system has been trashed.
yeah.
And like who's watching who's watching the gate? Who's watching the border? Nobody. No, they're just watching people walk in. They're not doing anything about it.
Well, like our National Guard is told to just sit there and watch and report.
Yeah. And speaking of which, this new video just popped up. And I just wanted just to position these two headlines here, which are, I mean, to just give you an idea how upside down and backwards that this whole thing is.
Yeah.
Secret Service did nothing, right? New photo released of a would-be assassin, Thomas Crooks, walking around the building with a gun before the shooting. So they got a video here of him, and they did nothing, right? That's our government there. Now but the next headline here is, right, government investigating pop star after music video raises eyebrows. So they're going to investigate a pop star,
right,
for a song she releases, but they did nothing about a guy that walked around a building with a gun in his hands.
Right. Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, how do you, this every day is like,
it's a joke.
you just, I mean, you lose words for what the hell needs, it's like, every day's a what the day,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What?
now they brought in monkeypox, so I just need to make sure you don't have monkeypox, and I'm not going to
Oh,
catch it through this um, stream.
well, I can see the convergence here, and sort of Ricky can tie and chime in any time with this, but I see a convergence here that, and I'm trying to put this together. Are they winning or are they losing? Are we winning or losing? What's happening here? You know,
Uh,
where I'm sure that the powers that should not be feel that they're being exposed because they can see the
yeah,
people waking
that's why
up.
they throw a bunch of stuff out too to
Yeah.
distract and be like, "Look over here, look over there. Don't pay attention to that."
But beyond even that propaganda, the the bigger things that they're doing, because like I was discussing how a guy yesterday I know who is he's going to fund my next level into the
Oh
fight,
yeah,
right?
you did talk to him?
Yeah,
Great,
I've talked to him I talked to him this morning before I get on and
nice.
all. And I'm thinking, well, wait a second, maybe this is a waste of money. I don't even know if I want to be on the streets right now. I
That's
mean, because I know this project is going to make me a huge target
yeah,
because this thing is going to be funded and I'm going to market it properly and all this good stuff, and it's really going to make a difference. And because of that, I know I'm going to become a huge target. So at the
yeah,
same time, though, if they crash the economy at this time, which it looks like they're getting ready to do, put us into some kind of digital currency platform. Uh, we have the monkeypox thing that you
yes.
mentioned coming out, right?
Well, they declared it a worldwide pandemic. Like,
Oh, of course, the election comes out every
quit
4
taking
years.
vaccines, and then you guys,
Yeah,
oh my
Hey
gosh,
guys,
yes,
yeah.
I've been here. I'm coming back in to let you know. It's there in the message, Mike, right there. I said I was going to find it, put it in. I wasn't leaving until I did it. I got to get out of here. But right in your message is a video everybody's got to see. With that,
Never
you guys be
underestimate.
safe. I'm
Yeah,
sorry?
never underestimate the one you just sent me. Terrific.
Yeah. Wait till
good to
you
see
watch
you.
that. Always. Bye bye now. Be safe.
All
You
right,
too.
Ricky, I loved you. I might talk to you soon. You know that.
Keep me informed on that issue.
Yeah, yeah. He's
You would have
gonna
loved
kind.
my 5 a.m. meeting this morning with the crew. I had the people. Oh, forget about it. Just call me later.
Yeah, there's so much going on. It's hard to keep up. It's like
I
that.
hear you. I
It's
hear
like
you.
that Leonard Cohen song. Things are sliding in so many directions. You won't be able to,
Yeah.
keep a measurement of it. Yeah, yeah. This is the video that Ricky was talking. We just play this.
Yeah,
It's only a minute and a half long, so it's. But
When you think that he's saying were spoken by Mao and Lenin
yeah,
in the communist revolutions, you will see it. So just watch this.
and
Adios, amigos. Buenos
adios.
all
dias.
right, brother. Yeah, and I'm highly suspicious. I kind of people say that Kamala Harris is not as dumb as she's portraying to be. And she's playing down to the lowest common denominator, which of course are going to be her minions. So, and it's the same thing with the tampon Tim there, right?
Yeah,
So they're both bust out communists, and they know how to parse. I mean, right after this, we'll go in and take a look at how Tampon Tim is trying to become the victim now of the exposure of him having the uh, stolen valor. So they're
right.
very clever people on how they can just switch things around and manipulate the language and the words and deflect into where they would want you to go with this. and the talking points that they use, because I hear them out on the street all the time when I try to talk to a leftist, liberal, communist maniac, brainwashed MSNBC, CNN, listener. You can tell that they're not thinking for themselves. They're using
Right.
communists or somebody else's talking points. But let's take a look at this video, because this is a good one to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice President Harris will say repeatedly, what is the quote? The quote is that we can see what can be unburdened by what has been. Is that word salad or Marxism? It's Marxism. That is, in fact, not at all word salad. It is a Marxist, as I said on Twitter the other day and got mocked relentlessly by the media for this, I said it's a Marxist incantation, as a matter of fact. It's like a spell. So you can see the possibility of a world that's unburdened from its own history, which is exactly what Mao Zedong did when he launched the campaign of Smash the Four Olds, the four old characteristics of Chinese society. They were going to make a new China that was going to be unburdened by what had been in the past of China. This is what the Soviets, the Bolsheviks, did when they took over power in Russia, is that they were going to make the new Russia. They're going to make the new man, as a matter of fact. People could become unburdened by what has been so that they could see what could possibly be in the terms of a socialist utopia. So, Madam Vice President, when she says that, I assume, given that her father was a Marxist and a professor, I assume she knows what she's saying, and I don't buy her Idiot Valley speak shtick one bit. I think she's far more smart and far more savvy than conservatives have given her credit for, and she is an outright Marxist. It is very, very clear in her language, and that's what the Democrats want to nominate for president right now, which is kind of horrifying.
Right.
Yeah. So it's how did we get here? Where's our Senator McCarthy?
It just keeps getting more and more interesting as the days pass. I mean,
oh yeah,
just with everything that, is just being thrown at us. It's very, like get out your popcorn type of thing. It's a total show. I mean, it's I couldn't believe when, hearing about the monkeypox, but there was also other ones because how many, we have all these things that are of pandemic, threats, like global, and they've been waiting for that for a while. So I'm actually, who knows what's going to happen with that, because they could lock us all down again.
I was reiterating on that earlier, how, that's exactly. What I'm looking at. If they're feeling the heat, they're feeling the heat right now and the pain. They can know that people are waking up, so they are getting pushed back.
Right.
Just look what kind of a panic they went in just because of that talk between Musk and Trump.
Right.
And so they use that again to go ahead and say, well, we got to clamp down on the misinformation, because it goes right back to that, the COVID again.
Yeah.
All those anti-vaxxers, we can't have, right? And doctors, it's creditable. Very high-ranked doctors were being censored and demonized. Some of them were, losing their licenses just for coming out and saying, hey, wait a minute, wait a second. When you get to this point, so a lot of more people are waking up, but is that wake up too late? We're eyeball deep in alligators, and we're supposed to be draining the swamp. Hello, where do we go from here? But here's Tim Walsh playing the victim. Again, these are hardcore communists.
Yeah, for sure.
And here he is playing the victim now, but listen to how he parses the words, how he goes ahead and manipulates them. This is interesting.
2005, I felt the call of duty again, this time of being service to my country in the halls of Congress. My students inspired me to run for that office, and I was proud to make it to Washington. I was a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee and a champion of our men and women in uniform. I'm going to say it again as clearly as I can. I am damn proud of my service to this country. And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record. Is anyone brave enough to put on that?
Now, no one's denigrating his service record. They're denigrating the fact that he lied
Right.
about his rank and he lied about being in combat. So no one's denigrating his service, right?
Right.
That uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. But look, then in 2005,
So, you know, again, he's the victim now.
Right.
People denigrating me for my service. Oh, you know.
Like, quit
gee,
lying.
No, and, you know, I could probably play a clip of find it easily enough. I mean, Owen Shore did a good one yesterday. They got it all together, where they have about 20 clips of him talking about lying, you know, about his rank and his service, what he did. So
And
these
for
are
what, you know?
outliers are being exposed, and instead of them being held accountable, they become the victim.
Mhm.
Oh,
Of
you know,
course, they have to.
sorry.
You know what I mean?
Where are we going to go with this, man? How do we? Because I know I've seen a lot of people getting real frustrated,
Mhm.
and you know they can't get the damn satisfaction they want by going to the city councils or going to the courts or going to the authorities.
What are they going to do?
Yeah. So what does that leave? I mean, where do we go from here? Civil disobedience? Why?
I mean, it's going to have to be. Yeah. I mean, and
does it become hot lead? Because I know some people right now that are just, they're ready to start doing something really stupid. And you
Yeah.
know, I go, well, then at the other side of me, you go, well, were our founding fathers stupid when they got there, when no one would listen to them, when they exhausted every other avenue of recourse? I mean, were they stupid, you know, when we forged this country through a revolution?
right.
So now we don't have to reinvent the wheel like they did. We do have the Constitution. We do have some people, not a lot, in the courts that are good. There are some good judges and whatnot. We have some good sheriffs. There's probably only about maybe 3 or 4 representatives that seem to be worth their salt. All the rest of them, either
I don't know. They do just enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like they do
don't even that.
just
They do
enough to just look like they're doing something, though.
Yeah,
Like they are on this right side of things. But I mean, you know, people always
don't
make
walk
excuses.
the walk. They talk
No,
the talk, but they don't walk
correct.
the walk.
Right.
I
But
mean,
that's the whole point too, is to keep people believing that you're, you know, doing the things the right way. And I think that, you know, people that want things to kind of, you know, pop off per se, it's going to happen anyway. Like, I don't think it needs to be, you know, like we're going to be in the mix of that at some point. Especially with what they're doing. I mean, where are they going to go with this monkeypox crap? Is it going to fizzle out, or are they really going to push it all the way? I mean, because it's are people going to capitulate again? You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, this one's different. And, you know, I'm just going to, because people will still go get tested for COVID and still are talking, and they're not even understanding. It's like,
well, that's
You
why I
can't
think
be-
they're going to go ahead and mix it up. In other words, it isn't just going to be one thing. They're going to slam us with several things.
yes,
The people that have come over the border, they're going to release them to start attacking and the malls and the grid and everything, the supply chain.
Well, look at Europe.
Yeah.
The UK.
So they're good. Exactly. Europe's the model. So they'll use them. They'll unleash them. They'll use the currency. They'll shut down the banks, bank holiday, and then come out with a central bank digital currency or some kind of digital currency crap, and reduce the.
We're going to give you credits.
Yeah. Right. Right. And so that coupled with the people coming over the borders, it would be enough. Then you throw in the pandemic. Now you got people who are so afraid, so mixed up, so desperate that the government will come, problem, reaction, solution.
Right.
The problem will come in, the government will come in with oh, don't worry. If you need help, we have these wonderful, clean, beautiful FEMA camps for you.
Yeah.
And you'll be fed and you'll be housed. And all you have to do is roll up your sleeve.
Yeah.
Because we don't want everybody getting sick.
Right. Or even bring in the biometrics and the digital ID. You know what I mean? That's going to kind of have to come with the CBDC, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're already talking about it, in Australia and whatnot, like, oh, you can go to a bar and they'll send some kind of coin or something that's like saying it's you. And it's like, what? Oh my gosh, that seems like more of a process than being like, here's my ID. Like, they're like, we're going to send this information through here and all that. I mean, it's a bunch of nonsense, but, people are going to say it's easier, whatever. I mean, but I just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, because if they bring in all those things, because then it'll be like, well, that'll be with your vaccine passport. So, we can make sure that you're safe to come in here. And then if we find out that you're not vaccinated, because then you wouldn't be able to really forge it. You couldn't be like, here's my card. Or people will get them, counterfeit ones just to make sure they can go in somewhere. But they're going to make it so that you can't do that. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's like they always like throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you.
Yeah. And I think that's what's happened because things happen gradually, then all at once. And I think we're at that all at once stage.
Mm-hmm.
And, they never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of philosophy that's going to be employed. And they're going to be able to push things through that we are talking about now that we're saying, oh, we'll never allow that. But, in a time of crisis, I mean, if, the supply chains break down, if you can't get food and you got kids that are starving around you, what do you do?
Right.
When they say, well, we'll feed you, just give us your guns.
Yeah. Right.
Or roll up your sleeve.
I mean, that's the thing is people are going to have to really, I think more so this time, really have to hold the line and not surrender to that, because it's going to be, they're going to make it so that you have no choice, even though you still do. They're going to make you think that you don't, and that the only way to survive will be through their means. And that's why, I try and tell people, we got to prepare. Like, you need to be prepared right now so that what are you going to do if anything happens, if there's some kind of civil war? I mean, whatever it is. But I mean, if you're not prepared to, figure out how you're going to feed your family outside of that, I mean, because whatever they're going to offer up is never going to be worth it. That price that you're going to pay.
What is your estimate on how many people are aware to what's going on, to how many people are prepared?
Oh, yeah, it's way more prepared. I mean, more aware than prepared.
Yeah.
There's less people prepared.
What do you think? What's your percentage?
I mean, I think it's a very small number that are prepared. I mean, I'm talking like
single digits
of the people that are aware. Yeah. I mean, it's not as many people as you would hope. I mean, there's going to be a lot of them, but I feel like with how many people but then in that, you could also say that maybe those other people aren't aware enough. They're not taking it seriously, and they're not seeing the writing on the wall, or they just kind of want to ignore it because it seems so far fetched, and it's almost easier to pretend that's not happening. So they're almost like in
Normalcy
between.
bias.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot plays with normalcy bias here. Well, nothing really like that has ever happened in my life.
Right.
Happens in other countries.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen here.
Like they
Can't
almost
happen
need to
here.
see it, even though it is happening in other countries. You know what I mean? If you can just like see what's going on around the world and how, I mean, to arrest you for posting something.
Yeah.
And it's like it's already bled into here. I mean, they're just rating, like, you know, Scott Ritter or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it's at our front door. And I feel like, I don't know. I mean,
I mean,
if you're not,
we got people in the gulag in Washington, D.C., 3.5 years now, and have yet to be charged with anything.
right.
I
And then
mean,
we have
how
people
is-
crossing the border that are going to get a quicker court date than them just to be able to stay, even though they committed a federal offense and did something far, you know, worse. It's sad.
Now, Trump's going to
mean-
have a press conference today. And this is all show and tell because, you know, everybody's on, well, where's Kamala Harris with her press conference? You know, put her in front of it. All right. So obviously Trump is just doing this. But here's my take on that. Who's going to be asking the questions?
Right.
It's going to be the same corporate shills that are paid off by the same oligarchs that we want to take down. It's not going to be us. Why not a town hall? Why not take questions from us? You know, wouldn't
Right.
that be refreshing? And,
Of
and
course.
can you see them up on stage stammering then? You know, excuse me, but could you tell us with your connections in the past too? And why did you have this person in your cabinet and considering that they are bust out crooks or connected to
Why do you have Larry Fink even as your money guy?
I mean, if you could ask,
Um,
right, if in this upcoming press conference, if you could ask Donald Trump a question, what would it be?
me, just one question.
Well,
I know.
Take your
I mean,
pick.
I'd want to know about Larry Fink, but I think, you know,
Yeah,
why
there
haven't
go.
you been upfront and honest with the people about the vaccines?
There you go.
Why would you tell people to take them when people are dying?
There you go.
But the thing is like that's why they won't let the people do it because, you know, it put the pressure on them and they'd have, you know, how would they answer that? They probably feel like, oh, it'd be too, like, you know, anything could be coming out of their mouth and they don't want to take the people off that train. You know what I mean? They want them to keep on the train, keep things, you know, whatever. But it's sad because there's a lot of things, you know, I don't even know if people, I don't know, people don't even care about that enough.
Yeah, they
Just
look
the fact
past it. Again, I was back to the analogy. It's like your spouse is cheating on you with everybody in town, but they're a good provider. The sex with them is great, and you know, so and they, you know, they treat the kids nice, or maybe they don't. You know, but you stay in the marriage
Mhm.
even though your spouse is a piece of garbage, you
Right.
know, right? Is committing felonies or is
Yeah, whatever. Right.
a devil worshiper, right? You know,
Right.
yeah, but look at the house. I got it.
It's so nice.
Yeah,
I don't have all
these.
these things.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I could go back to Sopranos, you know, with, you know, that analogy where, you know, Soprano's wife, Kamala, what was that? Camilla, what's her name?
Camilla.
Yeah. But you know, would have a conflict of like not really wanting to know what her husband did,
Right.
but knowing what he did,
Right.
stayed with them because, well, because of the kids, because of the house.
Yeah, whatever excuse.
She's always getting all these nice gifts. And,
Right.
diamonds and
She'd have to take care of herself. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't, her life would totally change. But
hang out with the social girls, the social clubs, and all that stuff.
that's
So
what's
yeah,
scary too, though. Like even with the, go ahead.
so does a vast majority of the public have that too? Oh, I'm going to ignore the fact that Donald Trump was mixed up with, Larry Fink is his like
That it was even on Epstein's plane.
man. And he's mixed up with gangsters. His lawyer was a lawyer for the mob too. I'm gonna ignore all that stuff. I'm gonna ignore the fact that JD Vance is mixed up with the Teal, who
I know.
has Palantir, that is the
And
biggest,
Ambrosia,
right, and Ambrosia, which are two of the biggest spy networks on citizens and intrusiveness into our privacy. I'm going to ignore all that because, well, we don't want the buzzed out communist. We're going to take which tyranny?
It's the lesser of two evils is what they'll say too.
Do we want the hardcore tyranny or do we want, the soft core tyranny? But they're both tyranny. And that's why,
but I mean, what would he do with this pandemic? You know what I mean? Would he go about it the same way? That's what's scary is like, they think like, oh, it's not that bad that he was pushing the vaccine. Yeah, but we're about to hit around pandemic 2.0. And I mean, so is it going to be okay again if he does the same thing? I mean, even those PCR tests should never be used for diagnostics. I mean, Carrie Mullis was killed before, the pandemic. And it's like, they're using that all over the place. Like, yeah, we're going to test for this. That's not what those are for. And especially with the monkeypox, you know how they test? It's like orally, vaginally, or anally.
Well,
because I remember when they
were doing the same with COVID.
Yes, no, but when the monkeypox came out the first time, they were like doing testing for it. And I'm like, no way. And so I'm thinking, I went to the mall and I asked the guy, do you test for monkeypox here? Because I was going to tell him I would like the anal test. And so I'm like, I mean, but it's just people are going to bend over and try and do that. And it's like,
literally,
and just keep taking vaccines. It's like, how many are you going to take? Like, it's like Fauci, I've got COVID and I'd had 6 shots, 3, whatever, and 3 boosters. Like, I mean, but still like, okay, so it still works for you. Like, you're just going to keep pushing that. And people do. They're just like, yeah, I'm just going to go get another one. Like, people are probably chomping at the bit to go get a monkeypox vaccine.
I think that's the weakest right now of their attacks, only because of my conversations on the street with the numerous medical professionals I've talked to. And even ones on the left say that they are against the vaccine. They're not going to do that again. They're not going to lock down, blah, blah. I mean, I think it's going to be the hardest thing for them to do is to perpetuate another hardcore lockdown. Not that they wouldn't try. I just think it's one of the weakest links. I think the strongest thing they would have right now is the collapse of the economy, coupled with letting the sleeper cells loose that have come over the border, and just creating enough chaos so that the election will get disrupted enough so they could shove Harris and Walz in there. Because even though Trump is like the better of the two deals there, I just mafia democracy. I think it was Democracy Government, whatever. Anyway, it's if you didn't know, the book's a bestseller. This guy was in the mafia, one of the high capos, went to prison for 10 years, came, saw the light, got out, went straight. And he wrote this book on how government and the mafia, which kind of plays into the One Nation Under Blackmail, the marriage of the mafia and the government, how they're both Machiavellian in their views. But so I'm looking at, well, these are two mafia gangs here. We got the Democratic Mafia and we got the Republican Mafia, right? And the Republican Mafia right now wants to take down a lot of the people in the Democratic Mafia. So, but the Democratic Mafia being so powerful at the moment and having all their people at the heads of all the most important agencies, capos, that, you know, they don't want Trump's mafia to get in, or the Republican mafia get in, because they'll take out all their capos and then put in their capos. So it's, I mean, it's like even Trump in his first administration, what did he do? He put the first AG he put in, right, was what was his name?
Oh yeah, Sessions.
Sessions, who was ineffectual, who was going off of, you know, the pot smokers. That was his big deal. All these, everybody wanted to see some real accountability for what was going on in the country at that time. And he was going after pot smokers. So he's ineffectual. He got in. And who does he put in? Bill Barr. I mean, wait a second here. If we're really going to go after the other mafia's kingpins, why put in one of their capos?
I know, that's exactly, but they're always like, well, he does it for a reason and he's gonna, and it's like, yeah, but so you intentionally allow destruction, like, hey, it's just like the vaccine, like so it's okay if people die because you're lying. I mean, or you're doing that, you know what I mean? I just don't understand why you would want to, like, if you really cared about the American people, why would you want to sacrifice them to expose someone? And like people already know that they're corrupt.
You know, I have a couple of people. I mean, you know, I'm out there on the street. Anybody can approach me, and I have a couple of people that come by there who are very well schooled and read, all into governments, that are hardcore anarch capitalists. In other words, they want to get rid of all government and have the free market run everything, which would be us. And, you know, when I talk to them and have conversations with them, and I'm sure I got those videos up on my site, you know, a few of them, and we parse back and forth. The more I listen to them, the more I believe I'm starting to become a bust out anarchist. And just get rid of all, and just have us run things through the free market. Because, I mean, we could have people's courts, you know, everything basically would be handled through free market and, you know, rule of law, common law, right? And because everything else seems to get corrupted over time. Anytime you hand over your power to a representative, well, who are they really representing? Well, why don't we represent ourselves? And you've heard me talk about how the fact we could start that out by getting rid of all the congressmen and replacing them with us. I mean, really, what do we need them for now that we have, you know, this right here, this means of communication, where time and space is not the problem? What if this were Congress right now, and we were asking everybody here, well, on today's agenda, we're going to talk about the monkeypox. So who's come out with the monkeypox? What do we want to do about that? And then we'd parse it out. Are we going to have a lockdown? You know, we're going to take one of these vaccines don't work anymore? And speaking of which, are we going to start throwing some of these CEOs of Pfizer and Moderna and AstraZeneca in jail? Are we just going to go ahead and let them, you know, that's one of the things that pissed me off about that talk. Did you happen to listen to, you probably didn't, I know.
Trump and Elon?
Yeah, Musk. Did
yeah.
You listen? You did listen to it?
For most all of it. It was like the end that I was, because I was
good. Then you'll understand. Now, let me know if this pissed you off as much as it pissed me off about that. is when they we'll start the medical thing. They talked about the medicine, but what did they talk about? They talked about fast tracking more vaccines.
Okay, I missed that part. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
see, there you go. That's the answer that I was.
yeah, they talked about fast tracking more vaccines, not about holding people accountable for the vaccine that's killed anybody.
Right.
Not a peep, not a single word about, well, we ought to look into some of these other like holistic medicines that have been around for several thousand years and keep people from getting sick. I think we ought to have hospital or doctors that, listen, more and more doctors like that, rather than one that's treat the symptoms, rather than, let's talk about preventing people from getting sick to begin with. Not one peep about that. And it's like, okay, why not? What the, excuse me, but we're going to do what? We're not going to punish the pharmaceutical big pharma for the damage they've done, but we're going to go ahead and fast track more vaccines that they put out. Are you freaking crazy?
Which I mean, we shouldn't take any of them, but they are supposed to take, 7 to 10 years to be tested. And it's like, so you want to test the public again. I mean, they're all experiments. They don't even help. That's the thing. It's like, and if he really knew, I don't know, but that's obviously, going to be the MO if he were to be in charge and they did lock us down, because he wouldn't have a choice. It's going to come down the pike from the United Nations and the Pew. Yeah. Like Bill Gates is the one that should go. It's like that man should be taking a Gitmo. And it's like, it's sad to think that, I don't know, because even, there's so many, our body goes through a detox because of all the stuff we do. It's just, and that's like the flu. So, you're going to have a fever, you're going to have all of these symptoms. And instead of allowing our body to kind of go through that, people are terrified. They're like, oh my gosh, I got to go to the hospital and shove something up my nose to see if I'm sick. Or they'll even do it because someone said that they had it and they want to make sure that they don't. And then they'll be like, well, you tested positive. Well, I'm not even sick. It is insanity the way that all works, because we've been hoodwinked and brainwashed into believing that, again, that they're going to offer a solution that's going to be better and it's going to keep you healthy. And it's like, no, it's literally going to kill you. It is. And, if we continue to go down that path and we have leaders that, refuse to acknowledge, the facts. They've never isolated any virus, period. So it's like, they're sitting here saying being afraid of this invisible killer dot. And so in order to make sure you don't ever catch this invisible killer dot, take this shot. And then people still are like, oh, I tested positive again. I'm going to go get another vaccine. And it's like, oh my God, like what?
I'm going through a parasite cleanse right now. So I'm doing that number because the big thing is parasites is what's causing all your problems. Okay.
That's what I know.
Yeah. Well, I want to try it. What the hell? It can't hurt.
No, and it's good for us to detox the things that, all the poisons and stuff that we put into our body that they have in the air, that's in the water. In the food,
So you see that's why I want us to be in Congress, because we're sitting here talking about real issues and we're coming up with real solutions. There's like another thing they talked about. I think you might have caught the part about the energy, because I talked about energy quite a bit, right?
Right.
And even Trump said, I'm sure he's just placating or whatever, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's just trying to lead us down that yellow brick road, right? Where he was talking, of course, he's talking to Tesla, who does what? He's making electric cars, right? Electric cars.
They're lithium bombs.
That are lithium bombs, thank you. Using Nikolai Tesla's name on the cars. Nikolai Tesla must be rolling over in his grave right now.
Because it should be free energy and it has nothing to do with lithium batteries.
Thank you. and Trump says, you ought to work out the technology where you can have solar panels on top of the cars, and so you can just ride around. You wouldn't have to pull in and and charge them up.
Charge it.
What happens if you have a hailstorm?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure you're out there in California. Have you seen that huge monstrosity piece of crap that Musk has put out, that big silver thing that looks like a space tank of some kind?
The pretend trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
not
seen
even
one up close?
Yeah, all the time.
Yep, because you're in California. I figured.
Yeah, never like inside. I haven't seen inside except for like someone's video, but like, yeah, they're
Oh,
weird.
have you seen one up close on the street?
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are monstrous. I thought a Hummer was big. I mean, those things. I looked at that thing and he says, "Holy crap!" Talk about. I mean, what a piece of shit it is. And so I'm thinking, how do you?
Like I wouldn't even want to drive in that thing. It's so
no,
ugly.
what would
And
be
they're trying to make it seem all futuristic too. Like these are the
yeah.
cars of the future, and we're gonna all be driving this type of thing.
So what about the hidden technologies? Let's talk. Well, why didn't they bring up Nikolai Tesla's, free energy?
Because they want to act like that's a facade. I mean, anybody that's brought that forward, even just like water powered cars, so many things, and they're just they wind up being killed,
hydrogen
and
cells.
having their work stolen and destroyed. And it's like, because you can't have a dependent people if they have all their resources to themselves. Like that's why they have to tell you, oh, we only have so much water, so we're gonna have to give you back your own sewage. Okay. And what we're gonna do with that, because they're even, testing for COVID. So I always tell them, like, if you're testing for COVID and it's in the water, why would you give it back to people? Why would you do that? You're gonna have some kind of filter that would take it out. You know what I mean? Like you put lye in it to dissolve poop and solids, probably bodies, whatever bodies you want to put in there. But it's like, I mean, you're willing to poison the people just in order to control. I mean, give them back some kind of resource that, there's abundantly in the earth. Oh, no, we can't drill for it. There's not enough. The water table's too low. BS. I'm calling BS. That's why, just like with energy, if you allow, even with cars, like being able to go, further distances, like they can't have that because then you're free to do so many things and you won't be dependent upon them. They need you dependent upon them for whatever it is, right? Power. Oh my gosh, they're going to take my house if I don't pay my bills. Oh man. You know what I mean? And they won't keep up with stuff, but they'll raise taxes to be like, well, we need to raise the taxes in order to take care of this for you guys, even though you should have already been doing it. And then, but like, oh, if you don't pay that, it's okay. We can just take your house. It's fine. It's okay. And then you can move into a FEMA camp.
It's like cognitive dissonance that drives me crazy because, people were praying, oh, that was a great conversation. Yay, oh, Trump. Oh, yay, oh, you must yay, right? On just praising it, and I'm sitting here going, smacking my head, going, what are you praising here? I mean,
well, they don't even care that he's a Freemason, that he's been on Epstein's plane. Like, they just kind of, oh, that's fine. It's all right. Yeah. And sure, maybe there's no one better, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, do you vote for Satan or Satan? Neither. Okay, I don't. Don't do that.
But it's the people that go along with it that don't, they put up with the fact. They put up with these things, and they praise. I mean, look, most everybody here that's on this thread right now, I'm sure probably is very familiar with the hidden technologies, very familiar with the geo water. We got plenty of clean water.
Right.
Needed it, right? Very familiar with a lot of these things that are being hidden from us and held back.
Right.
We know these things, yet we have these supposedly well-knowledge, skilled, worldly people get up there and treat us like morons. And then we go, Yay! Yay! Boy, I sure liked what he said or didn't say. Because, and I'm going, wait, what about because most lies are done through omission. And I'm going, why didn't he talk about this? Why didn't they talk about that? Well,
Well,
and I was
I,
incensed by that. The
for
foreign,
sure.
yeah. And then there was the foreign aid thing, right? Where Trump was talking about, yeah, I withheld their aid to get what I wanted. I told them if they didn't do this, that, or the other, they wouldn't get our money. And I'm going, well, why the hell are we giving them our money to begin with? I mean, we're going broke. We're broke, and we're giving money to countries that really don't need it and who are our sworn enemies. So I'm going, well, how does that fit in? How does that work? I, you know,
I mean, I don't know. I think part of it too is like when people say, you got to pick the lesser of two, if say that's the case, they still, like negate the fact and ignore the fact that it should be the people, that are coming in and changing the world around us. Instead, they have to just look at them and go, they're going to be the change that we need. Then they're not. And then, they get pissed off again. But, people really embodied the fact that it should be us that are, taking our, power back and our, rightful seat instead of, leaving it up to these people who are supposed to represent us that don't. I just feel like, it kind of keeps
here we
us
are.
from doing that.
I just sorry to interrupt you, but just to give you an idea, we're talking about some serious issues here, right? I
Right.
mean, that's all we ever do. We don't talk about, we very rarely ever talk about anything superfluous, right? But just looking at some of the comments here, does Badass Uncle Sam seem taller today? I bet he's sitting on a stack of cash. What?
A stack
Right?
of cash.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me, a stack of cash, right?
Send in the clones.
I hope that's a bot. I mean, I hate to believe that there are people that are just this, shallow, I guess would be the word. What does it take, folks? What is it going to take for you to wake up and get pissed off and do something? I mean, look, Audra, you are out there. You pour your life. This is your life now, and you put yourself out there in danger every time you go out. Does it bother you? No, you don't even think about it. And you do it because if you don't do something, if you sit around and talk about stupid stuff, nothing will get done.
Right.
And not only that, even if it reminds me of that saying, like, I'm not out to change the world. I just don't want it to change me. So you do it because also you don't want to compromise yourself.
Well, I don't want to live a lie.
Thank you. Because what the
And
hell
people
that
are
means.
content with that. And it's like, I mean, I would know. I'd rather not do that because it's a
Yeah.
choice. You know what I mean? Like to just go along with something because you're like, well, it's easier. And it's like, it may be, maybe,
Well, it may be.
but nothing's easy anyway. So it's like,
No, this
you
life
think it is, and you can,
nothing easy in this life.
like ride that coattail. But in reality, it's like, if you're living in, I mean, because why okay to others doing this, like lying or, making excuses for why they had to do that instead of saying, no, I want them to stand on the tree. Like, why can't you require that or want that from people? Because otherwise, people just run rampant lying and just giving us, a bunch of propaganda. Like, I don't think that's why I enjoy journalism, because I want to show people the truth. I want you to see firsthand, even if it's like coming along the ride with me while I'm experiencing it, having them experience it too, because I think it's important as opposed to, just placating people. I don't, I don't know. I don't know why it's easier for some. I mean, because then, people can act like they're aloof to all of, the realities and stuff like that. But, I don't know. I can't sit there and tell someone like, yeah, go take a test for COVID. Like I'm more like, no, that doesn't exist. I mean, I'd rather you live in the reality that these viruses don't exist the way they say. Our bodies actually do go through a detox and it makes you feel sick, and that's just kind of what happened. But it's like, um, why it's sad to me. I actually feel like,
Speaking of an upside down, backwards world, medical welfare, doctors who question COVID shots promoted ivermectin lose certification.
right. Well, and then when you see what they're doing with just like silencing people all over the down and say, oh no, we got to punish people for doing it so that they won't want to, continue to tell the truth. And that's why if that's what's being offered to you, but people stay in a job, they're just like, well, I gotta stay here and let them. I mean, they'll even, surrender to getting the shots or taking a test every week. And it's like, why do you want to stay in that place? Why don't you want to like get outside of it? Because it's not going to benefit you if you're, you know, living in the constructs that they want you to. But it works so well because people do. They just, capitulate to it and think that, it's just easier. I mean, even like taking your kids to doing homeschooling, parents think like they have to be the one that doesn't. It's like, no, there's other programs that are around you. And if anything, you could start something with, like other families so that, because I was just had this guy on my show, Chad Stewart, who's written a lot of books for kids, which is super interesting because they're about reality. And he brings in things like, just the truth about the government and what's going on around us. He's not tiptoeing around these subjects, but adding them into the book so kids can have a better understanding, a clear understanding of what's going on. But it's like you don't have to stay out of work and homeschool your kids. Like there's other opportunities, but if you're not going to look for it and you just send your children into these indoctrination centers that are not meant to build them up, but, to keep them as worker bees and keep them in the constructs that they put up around us, all while, possibly forcing your child to get a vaccine. I don't understand that. I don't see why people aren't willing to fight to stand up for what they know is true. They would rather just go, oh, well, I'm going to let these people push me around. And the more that happens, the more they're going to do it because, it's just like with COVID, like, there's always test runs to what they're doing. Like, how much will people give in? And then when they see that people are just like doing it left and right, people that said, oh, I won't do that. And then they do it, I'm not going to allow that. And then they go, well, and then make an excuse for why all of a sudden they have to. It's sad because it's like, man, it's just stand on, something. Quit letting them just blow you with the wind. You're like, let you blow with the wind. I mean, it's, that's why we're in such bad times. And that's why I feel like, people aren't, they're content being dependent upon the government because it seems easy and it's going to be hard at stepping outside of that. It's harder at first, but it's so, fulfilling and it becomes easier. You just have to step into it. But people don't want to step into it. They're just like, no, I would just rather, go along to get along. I don't want to rock the boat. Why not? Jesus flipped over tables. Like, I mean, we're not supposed to just sit here and go like, we're going to be a slave to this system. We're supposed to be stepping outside of that. And I don't know. It's frustrating. Because you want people to.
If it wasn't frustrating, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
I know.
We'd be, I don't know. We'd be doing what the normies do. We'd be normies.
Yeah.
Anything here you want to share that's interesting? It's
well, let's see. No, because I actually need to add some things to that.
you got
have
your
some
Twitter
videos.
thing. Where's your Twitter thing?
Yeah. Eye of the Storm SC.
Eye of the Storm SC.
That shirt that guy has on, I have one of those with Nathan Fletcher.
Really?
Yeah. That I'd wear to the meetings when he was the chair. He was the chair of the board of supervisors. Sorry. It's like, um, and when I got beat up by the sheriff, I'm pretty sure I was wearing that shirt.
You wearing
Probably
that
what
shirt?
pissed Nathan off so bad. Yeah. Get her out of here. She's not the Kamala one, but one with Nathan's face on it. So he's like, I gotta get her out of here. Um,
I'm so behind him. I haven't put up anything all week because every time I go to put something up, I'm going, you know, this just doesn't. I mean, with so much that's going on, not. It's I don't know. It doesn't seem hardly worth it. I should
put
know.
stuff
Can I
up?
do enough? Can I do enough? What can I do?
it takes a lot to like keep up with that crap. I mean,
Well,
it
let's
really
even
is
like,
like,
all right, let me give you a mock-up. Let me show you what I'm doing here. You give people an idea. And then I'm going to go, well, is this too late? Is what I'm going to do, is, hopefully, I mean, because I've been having this dream for years. And now just at the time when it looks like everything's going to complete crap, right? This guy's going to fund me. And believe me, this
yeah,
isn't going to be cheap either. This is a chunk of money to put this in. Because it's being from ground up and I'm going in on this. But this is the right. This is just a
oh wow,
right. This is a crude mock-up of what it is, but it's going to be right. LED
does it have a
screen.
bike on there?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'll be able to pull this with my bike, just like what I have now. But this is what I have
Okay.
now, right? But it's instead I got my posters up there where the screen is. So
Okay.
all this is going to be about maybe about 9 to 10 feet tall. Well, what have I got here? It's right. Total is 9 feet 5 inches.
Wow.
Right. And it'll have three screens, one on either side and then one on the back. And
Will they go up and down? Like, will that go into the box or whatever kind of per se? Or is that just, it's always going to be up like that?
yeah,
Because that'd be
that's
cool if you could like go and they just disappear into the box,
yeah, that's that I'm
cart, whatever.
when I get together with the guy who's going to build this, we're going to go over what we can and cannot do that would seem practical.
Right.
That would be excellent if I could do that. You just slide that back down, slide those into the bottom and slide them up again. I've talked about being able to have to do that, being able to do that. But, and then of course we have to figure this out because this is where right now where the merch would be if we're going to have
Right.
any already, I might just do everything online in that case. I don't know. But I said this would be where the merch would be. This down here of all the generator and the power, right? So again, this is all in play. But the whole idea of this is to live stream internet straight to the street. So we can be having this conversation on the street as people are walking by.
Right.
And they could ask questions. In other words, I could have guests on the screen there that, have whomever on there, have you on there, right?
Yeah.
Right. And today we have Lady Liberty from the border in San Diego, out there in Southern California. And Lady Liberty, what are you seeing out there today? Let's go over and talk to some of those border agents and
Right.
do this live stream straight to the street. And so you can imagine the effect this would have on everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Because, all right, have Whitney Webb up here talking.
Right.
Where's your friend? What's her name? The one that we had on as a guest.
Nikki.
Yeah, where's she been at?
I know I need to reach out to her. I don't know. I think yeah.
Have her on, right? And
Mm-hmm.
hell, Alex Jones. Today, Alex Jones is going to be speaking to you straight from the street, or, whomever, right? If it's marketed right and it's done right, This will explode. I mean, explode. And then, of course, what's going to happen? Then, well, one, I'll become a bigger target and it'll kill me, but that's beside the point. But then,
I'm going to rebuke
the
that.
bigger the influencers or celebrities or, whomever would come on because they realize that, well, this, people are paying attention to this. This is the next big thing. And so then when they come on, we could ask the people, could ask them real questions. Nothing's controlled. Because
Right.
when you're on the street, you know that there's no control. It's a free for all. It's a street.
Right.
But it's us. You can't get any closer to the people than the street. You just can't do it.
Yeah, it's a perfect place to go and, really just talk to people about like
Yeah.
whatever,
why
that hot
On the
topics are.
street, podcasts are very popular. But but how many of them live stream? I mean, just here it
Yeah,
is.
most of them
It's
do.
on,
Yeah.
in real time. This is it.
Yeah.
And of course, it'd take a lot of burden off of me in the sense I don't have to do a lot of editing anymore. I could go out
Right.
there for 3 hours and, or even 2 hours and just blast it out. And because it's mobile, I can take it places like in front of City Hall or to any event out there, right?
Right.
And and then, right there, live stream whatever's happening going on. And so this is the thing the guy's funding that wants to get it off. And it's not going to be cheap to do it,
Right.
I might even get it up where I can get take it on the road, because if we can collapse it down in there, we go ahead and get a motorcycle and put it on the front and take it around different cities, maybe come out and visit you out there and,
I know, right?
and
That would be cool.
yeah, just take it across the country and visit different places with it. And,
Because you could just, people would follow that. Like, where's Uncle Sam going to be next?
yeah, yeah. So this is something I've been dreaming about doing for about, I don't know, ever since I dragged my cart out there. But as the technology's improved, it's possible to do that now. You can actually do it.
Right.
And,
You don't
but,
probably need like a Starlink though, too.
yeah,
Depending, I don't know, like just because there'd probably be areas where you may not have like service, but you could have like a continual
oh yeah, well they got
connection.
matter of fact, someone gave me a hotspot. I got a hotspot.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, good.
I don't know if it'd be adequate for this, but that's why another aspect of this is having a tech guru help me put all this together.
Right.
So, what will work best to make this work, and we'll have both the solar panel and the gas generators and, the batteries and everything else to go ahead and, make this work. Because
Right.
at one time I did have solar panels up on here, and I had the solar, and I did have a TV in the back of the rig. And you're not seeing what I'm talking about.
What?
But I had solar panels on the top of the rig, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a TV screen in the back. I went through 3 TV screens back there. And, I had a computer back there and everything to go ahead so I could show clips, WTC7 coming down or whatever, I could
Right.
show. But it wasn't connected directly to the internet. I didn't have an internet hookup out there. And, I probably could, since that guy gave me the hotspot, I could probably try that in the interim. But right now, there is no interim. You could do it fast now, because we're at the end. I mean, will I even have enough time to get this built? And then if I hit the streets right now, would it be safe to go out on the streets if they release the sleeper cells, and the economy collapses? I mean, what am I going to show? Here we are, folks. This is the destruction of the world coming from you from the streets of New Orleans. Here I am getting beat to death on the streets, getting shot. You can just contribute what you can.
We don't want to
It's amazing.
Make that a
Anyway, I
reality.
don't know. It's all in God's hands, isn't it?
That's right.
It's all in God's hands. God said, you're not supposed to have this 8 years ago. I'm giving it to you now. You and see what you can do with it. You.
Well, I mean, you just got to trust that, you know, he's always got our back. I mean,
No, I
you know,
always trust that. It's just like, and I hate to question God. It's just like, excuse me, God, but if you had done this earlier, I could have.
and he's like, no, it's at the right time, even though it doesn't seem like it to you. There's, you know, our timing for what I mean, you won't know yet, but I think that, it's going to come at the perfect time for whatever reason.
Or not. Maybe that's in the plan.
That's true.
You don't know. I mean, it's just like, just had to, I'm just going to keep on, like you, just keep on swinging away at, no matter how many wiffle balls we have.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Still got to get mad on. I mean,
I know. I'm
crazy,
bad.
crazy man.
Yeah, he's funny.
We're talking see what I like about Matt. He puts the fun in adversary, in being a rebel. He puts the fun at rebel is what he does.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
He's just, and that's why he has such a following that he does.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That just from, who he is and how he, presents things, and, he's a good person. And it's funny because there'll be people that, try and want to tame people. And it's like, I mean, kind of tell you how the things should be done. And, it's like Matt wouldn't be Matt if he didn't do it the way he did it. You couldn't tell them come in and be like, all right, I need you to sit in this chair and just speak really serious. I mean, they wouldn't even want to see that. And so it's like in his own surge in violence against Border Patrol agents.
Yeah. Not surprised. The ones I've talked to are being treated like crap. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's crazy. When I was talking to, when I was there last weekend or the last week, when nothing was going on, like you'll ask them like, hey, is anything going on? Just see if they'll give you a tip or something like that. And she was like, no, not right now. And I was like, oh, it's too bad. I was like, because it probably makes it go slower. And she's like, no, but we don't want them coming. So it's good that it's slow. And I was like, that's true. I don't know what I say. Like, you don't want more of them just to like make the time go by quicker. But when there is, it does go by quicker. Otherwise, they're kind of just waiting around. And it's because they've been shifting where they're coming in. But it's nuts. And I think I told you that our friend out there, his name's Coyote, he was attacked really pretty brutally by some illegals that had that crossed over right where, we were at the wall that we kept him away from. But he had been assaulted just a few weeks back. And it's just crazy to think about because it's like it's happening on a regular basis, not usually right there at the border wall, but in the nation. I mean, how many, people have to die or be raped or whatever, before, people are really taking it seriously. Because I mean, people
Laura
also
Logan,
don't.
Laura Logan was on InfoWars talking about the 70,000 Afghans army that we have here. And I'm trying to look for it here, but she was on InfoWars talking about that just the other day. And I'm going, Laura, I got you beat. I got a Department of Homeland Security guy who was Afghan who told me 2 years ago that there's, in a quote, there are 75,000 bin Ladens in this country right now.
Right.
Administration is stopping me from finding them. So
but that's why it's like, think about how many more.
Well, yeah, well, that's what he said. He says
That's
that they-
tripled or doubled, and those are probably not even the numbers that he has are still inaccurate. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They're only
yeah.
gonna.
He
So
mentioned that. He said
Yeah.
that, and they're allowed to bring over their
they're
family.
yeah, yeah,
And he said that information he was giving me at that time 2 years ago was a year old. So that's 3 years
3
running.
years.
And that was 75,000. He used that bin Ladens in this
Right.
country right now. And the administration was stomping him from finding it. And so, when they release those people on us, because they're going to create, they ain't here to, to get jobs or,
No,
have a 7-Eleven. That's not that's not what they're here for.
no.
These people are I mean, hell, we're giving them money, we're funding them, we're giving them a place to live, we're giving them medical care. And then they're going to turn around, they're going to cut our throats when they.
Well, yeah, but think about everything that we've done over the decades to other countries, and then now they're all coming here. I mean, come on, you don't think
Yeah.
they're pissed off about what we've done? I mean, we didn't personally, but it's like we're that's the thing, is that we are in the midst of reaping what we have sown, and it's due, because it's like, I mean. And that's the sad thing. And it's
But none of this had to happen. I mean, if we would have paid attention and put good people, again, with the construct that we have, if we put good people in and paid attention, we wouldn't have an open border. We wouldn't have started those wars that created all that mayhem and garbage.
right.
And we'd be a very prosperous, free country. But we're victims of comfort. We allow these people to get into that position. And now we're going to suffer hard, bad. I mean, even a best case scenario, you're familiar with the Deagle report?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, let me play this for you then. This is going to go ahead and raise the back of your hair a little bit. This will do it. This will do it. Yeah. There we go. This is a Craig Reese report.
Okay.
I'm going to hit the share. And this fits in with everything we're talking about. That's why this just kind of works real well.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You've seen this?
No, go ahead. But I didn't get to watch it yet.
Yeah.
Deagle.com was officially operated by Dr. Edwin A. Deagle Jr. In 2014, Deagle.com published predictions of massive population declines happening abruptly before the year 2025, mostly in Western countries. For over 5 years, the mysterious depopulation predictions on Deagle.com were regularly updated. But after the 2020 lockdowns, this page was removed from the website, but can still be found archived on the Wayback Machine. Deagle.com has always been a very stark website, with all the appearances of being an intelligence agency website. It claims to be the personal website of Dr. Edwin A. Deagle Jr., who recently passed away in February of 2021. In their recent article, uncovering the CIA and Rockefeller Foundation's role in the depopulation forecast released by Deagle, the expose connects the dots that many of us have assumed existed. Declassified FOIA documents from the 1970s reveal Deagle's direct communication with Stansfield Turner, the director of the CIA at the time. In 1976, Dr. Edwin Deagle moved to New York to become deputy director of the International Relations Program at the Rockefeller Foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation was created on May 14th, 1913, just a few months after the Rockefeller family helped set up the Federal Reserve banking system, which gave them unlimited funds while enslaving future generations with debt. The Rockefeller Foundation funded eugenics programs that decided who should live and who should die. They outlawed natural medicine and fuel, including one of America's #1 cash crops, hemp, and replaced it all with chemical compounds derived from their oil companies' toxic waste. The Rockefeller Foundation created the United Nations and have their tentacles in NGOs throughout the Western world. In 2019, they funded Event 201, the blueprint for the COVID lockdowns that were executed weeks later. Officially, we are told that Dr. Edwin A. Deagle Jr., a deputy director of the Rockefeller Foundation and an associate of the CIA, retired in 2005. The depopulation forecast was published in 2014. The Deagle.com forecast predicted that by the year 2025, the UK would see its population decline by 77%. Ireland would see its decline by 72%. The United States by 68%, and Germany by 65%, while other countries, like Russia, are predicted to experience practically zero decline. And official data is now showing that the extreme Deagle.com predictions may be accurate. Official figures, which we can assume are rather conservative, are showing that government shutdowns and mandated deadly shots have caused staggering levels of excess death. According to official UK government data, the COVID-19 vaccines were the main cause of excess death. And the more shots you got, the more likely you were to die. Many are saying that over 20 million have died as a result of the COVID lockdowns and experimental shots. And while that number is historically epic in size, it still does not amount to what Deagle predicted by 2025. But we still have time. A 2014 letter that was published along with the depopulation forecast stated that they predict this decline because the collapse of the Western financial system will wipe out the standard of living of its population, and that the population will be hit so badly that the migration engine will start to work in reverse, leading to the demise of the United States. They wrote that, historically, a change in the economic paradigm has resulted in a death toll that is rarely highlighted by mainstream historians. With the end of the petrodollar and with the rise of resource-backed BRICS, the Federal Reserve's USD Ponzi scheme is likely at its end. And without factoring in a smart recovery plan, this would make Deagle's predictions a reality. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Kind of chilling, huh?
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So you see,
But it's all by design. That's how, yeah.
Yeah. Plays into everything that we're looking at here. You know,
Yep.
During the Great Depression, the country was half the population it is today. 90% of the people were agrarian, could grow their own food. Yet during that time, 7.5 million people in this country died of starvation-related diseases. Today, 90% of the people couldn't grow weeds with instructions. So when the economy collapses again, which it's not an if,
Yeah, when?
you factor that in with the COVID deaths, then probably, the release of the chaos, all the chaos. Why wouldn't that prediction be right? That, a year from now, we're looking
Well,
at.
think of if there was a civil war, say, right?
Yeah.
I mean, then boom, just like that, you could have those numbers.
68% reduction in population. Well, I mean, that seems more real to me than, Trump's going to get in and fix everything and everybody's going to be prosperous.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, because even if he does, they're still going to do whatever their plan is. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, they brought COVID in during that time.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't mean that, everything is going to be cupcakes and rainbows. That's what I don't understand why people think that. I mean, they're just lying to themselves because that's what they want to be so. And again, then you're wasting time when you could be making sure that you're prepared for whatever, instead of just going, oh, nope, he's going to get in and everything is going to be A-OK. Is
You
it?
see, and then here's some more cognitive dissonance. AZ Patriot 17. Okay, Trump is the worst choice. Ha ha ha. That's not the point. That's not
No, it's like,
it. I mean, you don't get it. You just don't get. That's cognitive dissonance. I don't understand. People don't get it. In the best case scenario, and Trump would be, of course, the best case, given the game we're in right now. Believe me, if we were in charge, there'd be a whole nother game. We wouldn't be on this chessboard. We'd throw this board away. It would be a whole new world if we were in charge. The people were in charge, especially the smarter people like you.
but it's like nobody's stepping into that. That's the problem.
Yeah, but
and that's what I'm talking about. Why are we giving all of this to this man to be like, he's going to be the change? No,
yeah,
you are individually where you're at.
Well, I'm not saying, between the two choices, you should vote for, Kamala. No. It's even a best case scenario with Trump getting in, it's going to be bad. And people don't realize that. They think things are going to get fixed. Oh, all the white hats are going to come in. Ivan Ranklin's going to get in there. They're going to arrest all these people. We're going to have military tribunals. We're going to have public executions, and the economy is going to boom. We're going to have secure borders, and we're going to no more wars, and everything will be rosy. Okay, I hope that's true. I pray to God that's true. But let's be real here. I don't hear Trump talking about that. I hear placating us, but I don't hear him talking about what was just in that video that, a lot of people are dying from the vaccine. No, I hear him talking about, we're going to fast track more vaccines. Yeah, okay. Square that with me. Square that with me that I can't hold him accountable. Square.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's sad. Because I don't understand why that's okay. And I mean,
it's going to get bad when, not if, the economy collapses. When it collapses. And they put us into a whole new metric of currency. You're going to be a lot poorer, and your bills aren't going to be any less. They're going to get higher, and you're going to be forced to do things you never in your life dreamed you'd ever even think about doing. And I'm just saying, Donald Trump, even in the best case scenario, we're going to go through hell.
Yeah,
because the people that have been in charge for how many years? 1,500 years? I don't know. 150 years in this country that have infiltrated every part of it. These evil, demonic, satanic, and they are satanic.
It's all in your face.
Crap, right? I mean, how the guy that was in second charge of the NSA was admitted. He had his own. He had the Church of Set. He was a practicing Satanist. He was second in charge of the NSA. He was intimately involved with every facet of the government, and people within the government. They knew who he was. So we have communist Satanists, psychopaths, and sociopaths that are ruling us, and we expect them to make things okay for us when they look at us and say, "Hey, you're useless food eaters. You're non-essential. Go home."
Right.
Oh, yeah, they care about us. Yeah, sure, they really are. Huh? Yeah, they care about us. They're taking over everything. Everything. And so what? What? Even though it's going to fail, but it's still taking things over. In the meantime, what do you do with all the out-of-work people? That's where that
just give them universal basic income.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to sit around and give us money. Yeah. What money? We ain't broke. Yeah. They're going to give us their money.
That they're going to charge you to be like, well, got to take out this fee and that fee, and then we'll leave you with just a couple of cents, and you might be able to use that for a snack if you want an extra lollipop. But I mean, it's a, dystopian future that we face. I mean, it's already dystopia now, but I think that people are just too, they literally, I mean, that's the problem, I think, is that sure, you can want Trump to come in all day long and support him, but like, what are you going to do when shit hits the fan? Because it's going to. So are you going to be reliant on him to make sure that you're okay? Or are you going to make sure that you're okay because you're taking things seriously and you're preparing, because he's not going to be able to save you when stuff goes down. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I don't want to, but I feel like they think that he could just like snap his fingers and stop it. When, I mean, he could be helping facilitate that. Who knows? But
well, he could if he didn't have, if he was like, if he was, yeah, you and me, the way we think, because if you were in power tomorrow, you'd know what to do. You'd know whose heads to chop off. You'd know what agency to get rid of. You'd know what to do. Because why? We talk about it all the time. We're common sense. We're in the mix. We work. We struggle. We're the ones that have to pay for crap. Nothing's being given to us. We have to work for it. So we know what to do. And so we would, so I'm sorry we're getting rid of all you deadweight people. I mean, we're just holding you accountable. You're going to jail. No, you are going to be guillotined. And we're going to get, you want to talk about population reduction? I sure know who to go ahead and get rid of then. I could get rid of probably about 200,000 people right away, and then, publicly make sure their executions are out there. And then let's see how long it takes for them to get control again. So, yeah, no. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry to be the hairbringer of bad news, but it's going to get a lot darker before it ever gets any better. It's just the way it is. And I don't give a fat crap who gets in office. We are so far over the edge. We are so far gone.
I know.
And it's not fear mongering. Please stop with this bullshit wordplay. I mean, that's just communist infiltration wordplay bullcrap. We're talking reality here. If that's scary to you, tough crap. Live with it. It's fear mongering.
I mean, then don't be prepared. Feel like, everything is going to be fine, and then wait and see what happens. It's like, that's the problem, is that, what they do is fear mongering, but this is just living in reality where it's like, I mean, you got to make sure that you're prepared. I mean, if you can see all the things coming down the pipe because this is the way it's been going, they tell you what they're doing. That's the thing. They hear this is what we're doing. I mean, and people still don't want to believe it. Like, hello. I mean, we got to see the writing on the wall and quit ignoring that and pretending like everything is just going to be okay. Sure, you can hope for that and want that. But in the reality that we live in, we should be preparing for, really tough times. You can't ignore the things that are going on around us. I mean, there's an invasion happening. And how can you say when you see it in other countries? I mean, look at the UK. And how the police are pretty much siding with these Muslims and, people that they shouldn't be. They should be protecting the people. And it's like they want chaos. And it's like,
And that's already happened here.
Fine, don't believe it, but then you're going to suffer the consequences of it.
In Minnesota, where the police were coming down the street during COVID, and they were shooting paintballs.
Yeah, paintball.
Yeah, at people on. I mean, hello. I mean, we can go back.
And
to
why
Katrina
people put
here.
up with that? It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we go back to Katrina here when they had the military kicking on our doors looking for our guns. Hello.
And for what? Like,
yeah.
because they always have, you can't let a, crisis go to waste. You got to do all the things you can during that time to, oh, well, just for your safety. It's like with the whole monkeypox or whatever things they bring down the pike is, more surveillance. We're going to have to do more surveillance.
I mean, should you
And
be,
it's like, we're just,
should you look when you listen to some of these Satanists, these maniacs talk about what they're doing, should you be fearful of it? Yes, but don't let that fear control you. You got to conquer that fear to fight them. So it's not fear mongering. We're talking reality here. And I'll tell you what, reality sometimes can be pretty scary. And right now,
it can be, but even someone even in the chat's like, well, I'm well prepared, but a scared person can't focus on doing it. Nobody's saying to be scared, saying be prepared.
Yeah.
Of course you don't want to live in fear. That's what they want you to live in. So you make irrational decisions, but you have to think logically and prepare. Doesn't mean you're scared just because you're doing that.
Yeah.
And it's not the point to scare people, but it's like either you're going to face the reality or you're going to have it slap you in the face as soon as it happens. And then you're going to be more terrified because you didn't do anything to prepare and you're not going to be able to survive.
Being human's tough because you got to deal with a lot of different things being human, emotions, wants, temptation, all of these things we have to deal with. But, that's what the Bible, talks about all the time. That's when you start down this right path, you more and more you start realizing. But in so many different degrees of people along the way that are in that, in that place of righteousness, that to get there, because no one's perfect. You got to,
No,
try to be.
well, it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's why the road is narrow. It's good that it is because they try and make it so wide here on Earth that it's like anything goes. You know what I mean? There's no morale. I mean, we have a totally corrupted society of people, and they're like, some people think that why is the road narrow? Why can't you just do whatever you want? And it's like, because then you go astray, and that's where the evilness can seep in, and it's like, oh yeah, it's okay to like rape children. What's wrong with that? They're just minor attracted people. It's just normal.
Yeah, it's like
Let's have children cut their bodies apart.
You should fight that.
Stop their puberty. Give them hormones.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a guy that's running for office that wants to have 10-year-olds to be chopped up. Right? Amazing. But it's like
he let aborted babies die.
Yeah.
Like they were living still, and then
Well, it's like last night when I got this news about hey, the banks are going to close. I mean, there was a chill that ran through me. It was like, oh crap, it's here, But then right away it was calm. But at the same time, what was my first reaction? I says, I got to let other people know this.
right.
So I sent out emails and I, got in chat and whatnot and let people know this. And what was a lot of the reaction was oh yeah, nice story, ha ha ha, yeah, right. And I'm going, wait a second, you're fear mongering, ha ha ha. He said, no, I'm just telling you something I just found out that could be very pertinent to your survival. And you're chastising me. It's like kill the messenger. Anyway, that's what we do.
I know.
We signed up for this. We knew what we were getting into. I didn't know, really. I mean,
which is interesting.
Would we have it any other way?
Right. I mean,
yes, I would. I'd like to be able to go ahead and have it some other way. Yes, I would.
I mean, it'd be nice if this wasn't reality, but it's like this is the world we live in. And you can either accept it and live in that, or you can deny it and live in denial, and then you're not even seeing clearly what's going on. Then you can be tossed to and fro.
Well, things are
wherever they
going to
want you to
happen.
go.
You know, I mean, the rugs are going to get pulled out from underneath us soon. And, you know, I don't know if anybody really knows how that's going to play out. Because we
I
have
mean,
so
God
many
knows.
factors in play, things that really, I don't know, in our recorded history, you know, that we know about, have never
Yeah, I
really,
mean,
you know, been like this before. I mean, we've never had this kind of technology. We've never had this mass amount of people on the planet together. We've never had all of everything that's going on right now before. Because when you look at that, how long have we been in this industrial society and techno society? I mean, we only have to go back 100 years and we were on horse and ponies. You know, we didn't, you know, we go back 175 years and we were, you know, we were doing what we were doing for the past 50,000 years or whatever long we've been around. So it's only been, when you look in the time frame, a hair's width of time that we have what we have now. We've seen this exponential rise in everything. And so does it get to a point where it just boom? Yeah, I think it does. I think it gets to a point where it gets to be too much and it just explodes or implodes into itself.
well, that everything's been corrupted. It's like if we would turn away from the wicked ways,
Mm.
you know,
We'd all-
God could come and cleanse our land. Yeah, but it's like
we'd all be
instead
Amish
we're
then.
just allowing it. Yeah, I mean,
We'd
that's
be
what
living off the
we
land.
should be doing is you know, taking notes from the Amish and you know, living in that kind of because it's a totally they're removed from, for the most part, from all the things that are going on around us that we allow. It's like they're not even going to, you know, entertain that.
You know, Whitney Webb right now, I was listening to her yesterday. She's got several external hard drives and she's downloading all these how-to books.
Oh yeah,
And
you
how
were
to
talking to
farm.
her. You said,
No, I was listening to her.
oh,
Oh, I'd
listening
love
to her.
to
Yeah,
talk to her. I mean,
I know. I want to have her on my show.
yeah.
She's
Dan
great.
Adams, oh, God, yeah. I
Oh,
played
he's
her.
had her.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get her on the show, his show, Dan
Yeah,
Apple
good.
is. And yeah, we wouldn't want that to have a conversation with that woman. She's amazing. The
Yeah, she is.
conversation, I just, hi, Whitney, what do you got to say today? And I'll let her go because, I
I
mean,
know.
it's just too much. So,
Yeah, she's
well,
got
speaking
her.
about letting go, we need
I know.
we've chewed up
Where's
our
the? I don't even know.
pissed off
Dan's
enough
not here.
people to go ahead, you know, so we could go ahead and do. So what you got planned for this week? What you gonna do there, Dolan? What you got?
Well, there's a Trump train, like I don't know, some kind of convoy thing that's all up and down the state that people are going to be engaging in. So I might meet some people in San Diego to start there, like down here, and then I'm going to go to the border because it's always important. And luckily, I mean, this month it's been kind of, they don't have meetings, so it's been nice to just like not have to be, you know, filling my mind with their nonsense. At the end of the month, there'll be a board of supervisors, but it's like, it's just nice not to, I mean, for real, like,
God
because they're
bless you.
such liars. And it's like, oh my gosh, but I got to see what you're doing because they'll tell you, they got to tell you what they're doing, you know, and it's like, it's all right there. And if you don't pay attention, you don't know what's coming down, you know, what are they going to do next? So, but it's like, ugh,
That's
you
such
feel
a
like you got to
minor
shower afterwards. What?
Indeed. Yeah,
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, feel really just dirty from listening to their lies because
imagine.
they're really good at lying.
Mm. God.
But digga Dan.
Yes, Dan, Diggy Dan the man.
I'm here.
Yes, you
Hello.
are.
How are you?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing good. I was making a sandwich and I'm like, oh crap, I got to get in there. And then I thought I had a video ready to go, and I see it still downloading, and it's like, ah, man.
Oh,
So, but
dang
I
it.
think I can play it straight through YouTube. It's okay. It's an Amtrak train ride from Los Angeles to San Diego.
Oh,
So I thought that's perfect because I've got a real interesting interview of a couple of doctors from New Zealand. And then after that, I've got some music to play. So I was going to ride the train with everybody while we listen to the interview and then listen to the music. So I thought it'd be,
nice.
yeah, kind of fun. You
Good.
do stuff like that here on Patriot Soapbox.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good,
I
huh?
always like your shows because you never know what to expect. You know, like that box of chocolates that, you know.
Yeah, we might be watching Europa next time. You never know.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you always
So-
have that good folksy take on it too, so it always works.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
well, God bless.
Good.
and-
Yeah, it was nice hearing you guys. I mean, I listened to you the full 2 hours. It's very interesting. You know, I love the droning of the voices and the topics, and so
Yeah.
it's
Well,
a two-way street.
You mean our doom and gloom cheers you up? That's
Well,
weird.
it's a piece of realism. I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from, right? I mean, we're two peas in the same pod, or three peas in the same pod. I lean more towards your line of thinking than, you know, the Trump cult, but that's okay. I know that Trump's the best, you know, bet and all that. But
I mean, we're going to look at reality. If he gets in, it'd be the best of the two criminal gangs. But
right,
right.
it's still a criminal gang.
right.
You know? So,
Yeah.
all right. God bless you. I love you guys.
Yeah, God bless. Love you
The
guys
bad, the
too.
ugly, and
Hey,
what's this? You know,
Lady Liberty, I just followed you on
Yes.
X.
Oh,
So
great.
now
I
that's
will
pretty
follow
cool.
you back.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. You
And
bet.
have a great show. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Okay.
bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. Well, folks, buckle up, hop on the train. We're going for a ride. I got to get this over here. This is, let's see here. Let's read the prayer. Does what you have been told about viruses and contagion stand up to scientific scrutiny? Science is never settled in the case of virology. Holding it to the standards of science with controlled trials and objective data would have saved us from the pandemic, so-called.